Well, I guess we'd like to welcome everybody to the inaugural pilot edition of Transcend Tech Talks with Ken and Brian.
That's right. So what exactly are we doing here? I just got the calendar invite 5 minutes ago, and I showed up, and all this stuff was here. So what are we doing?
We have topics to cover.
Tech.
Yeah, tech. Well, for now, tech. Right? We said we should get Transcend's top technology minds in the same room and educate people on.
Well, we need to go find them.
Yeah, I don't know where they are either.
Right,
They're
so
definitely not in here.
That's task number one.
What are the problems that we're solving and why? And if we say for today we're scoped to our internal people, right? Like, how does it impact their day-to-day lives? So I think we could talk about our platform and the things that we're working on. We can talk about how we think some of the AI and data initiatives that we have are going to impact their day-to-day lives. Because I don't think everybody knows it, right? They know that we're up there thinking about these things,
Yeah.
but some of them don't immediately showcase.
I just don't want them to tune out right now because I think probably a couple of them already turned off. So
Yeah.
how about this? How about what is the difference between your office and my office?
Okay, we can do that.
What is the difference between you
Yeah.
and me?
Okay, so you want to deal with
Why
the
are we even
preconception,
here?
yeah, the preconception that everybody that's in technology is somehow in IT, right? That's a good one to do because people don't understand, right? So, but you had much different experiences than I did, particularly working in the military. Maybe we start there.
Well,
like-
so you're in the IT office,
Uh-huh.
and I'm in the data and AI office.
Yes.
What's the difference? Isn't data and AI IT?
I look at what your department does as another business unit, right? I supply you with tools and technology to achieve outcomes, right? For me, information technology is a service business. I don't exist on my own, right? I'm here to provide technology, standards, implementation, processes that allow everybody in the company to be able to do what they need to do.
So I need something. I say, hey, I need this thing, and then you're like, snap.
Well, ideally, you're
Attention.
working in our delivery model, right? And we're saying, there are ideas that come in. Those ideas need to follow. We use agile, so they follow an agile oriented delivery model. Agile is a methodology for delivering value, whether that value be technology value. You can use it for business. Well, it's business value.
So a methodology.
Way of realizing value systematically.
So like if I'm a workout person, and someone says, well, what's your methodology?
Mhm.
What is it? What's that? Like,
Some people do workout splits. They do, 4 days on, 3 days off. Some people work out every day. Some people work
it's like
out
a system of how you.
a system for how so in IT, historically, or a very traditional way of delivering value was through waterfall programs, right?
What's
That is you take all of your requirements for what you want done up front, and then the smart people go off and build it for a certain period of time, and then you show it to somebody, and those processes tend to take months or years sometimes. Agile is a much quicker feedback for delivering value. You work in what are called sprints, right? So small chunks of time to iteratively deliver value over those time
So
scales.
this is like today's buys and tries.
You wouldn't say, for the next year, I'm going to work on chest and get my chest to be colossal.
Right, it'd be ridiculous.
And you got like stick figure legs and your back,
I've seen those people.
I know. And they look ridiculous in the gym, and the systems that we build using those solutions are just as ridiculous.
Ah, okay. So you're coming in to solve some. So if I'm a person, I'm on the phone, I'm getting rev, right? Bam, I have this system. Man, what is going on? What are they doing in over there? IT. Basically, some of the challenges and problems that one would encounter, maybe in this company, maybe in other companies, is because the wrong methodology.
Well, think about it this way. Like, we have to train the business, or train our partners in the business to also think in that way, because a lot of times they don't. They say, just give me this and just do this one thing. And many, many times that's too big to deliver in one chunk. And so the training that we have to do is to force people to think in, how do we deliver this incrementally? So how do I deliver for you a screen that I can gradually fill in with this incremental functionality until you get something fully realized? The goal is not to stretch it out over an indeterminate period of time. The goal is to deliver business value constantly.
Okay,
right?
so you're not intentionally slowing me down. It's just
No, but
okay.
it can go slower when your business and your IT teams aren't aligned on how to deliver that value, right?
Okay.
And the other thing, Ken, is that's not the only thing we do, right? There's infrastructure and
What's that?
managing the Wi-Fi network, managing the wired network, managing the security system, taking care of the badges and the badge technology, the phones. Yes, exactly. All of those pieces need regular and constant maintenance. You've got just care and feeding for upgrades and care and feeding for desktops and making sure everybody in the company is safe with what they're doing, right? And then we still also have to do all of these major projects to build the systems that everybody's using. So that's what, in a nutshell, that's what IT is, right? And we try to use a consistent methodology, which is agile based or quick turnarounds for value based, that starts with you guys coming up with ideas, and then we massage those ideas into something that's deliverable and get that out the door as quickly as possible. The problem is that we don't have an unlimited team. We're not an unbounded resource, right? And I have 47 separate ideas right now across all the different departments. So when I said IT is a service-oriented department, you're constantly trying to balance the needs of what everybody has with the available capacity you have. Not different than any other group. The problem is that IT is the DNA that wires all of this together. How can you do anything in this building without having a technological focus, right? And you and I know that, we are the wellspring of what you have to use to transform and do your job, right? And similarly, I think you're in a service-oriented business, right? Like, you're generating data and metrics for consumption by the broader business community to be able to make the decisions they need to make on a daily basis. Just like I'm not selling products on our platform, but I'm providing the platform. I see what you're doing as you're not making decisions, at least in part, you're making the metrics that allow people to make informed decisions. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So anyway, that's IT. Take me through AI and data and how that delivers value to the company and how it's different than what we do in IT.
Yeah, sure. So you gave me a good runway, right?
Mhm.
Now, let's put the plane on there and let's
Yep.
take off, right? The systems that you design, so say we have a customer resource tool like Salesforce.
Yep.
Our specialist coordinators, administrators, and everyone else is putting in data in that system. They're putting in information.
Mhm. Yep.
Right?
It actually makes that sound, by the
Yes,
way, when they do it. I know.
especially when you have a keyboard, gaming keyboard that a lot of people have.
But see, we are of a generation that remember clicky keyboards. Now it's a premium thing. We hated it back in the day.
I had a typewriter.
Did
so
you? Good. I had an XT at one point in time. So
I don't know what that is.
IBM XT. That's okay. So
Yeah, so they're putting in all this stuff
Mhm.
in the systems that you built.
Mhm.
And so for data, there's a lot. So first, I got to make sure that there's a thing called taxonomy,
Mhm.
and there's a thing called ontology.
You're probably going to need to define both of
I'm
those.
going to define
All right.
those. It's not toxicology or any of that other stuff, okay? So taxonomy is basically a standard structure of laws
Mhm.
of what words go where and how you format the words,
Mhm.
right? An ontological structure, or think of it like a file. If you make a Word document, people name it like Word document of mine, and they save it on their desktop. Well, that's not a taxonomy. That's lazy. So I go, look, you put the year, month, day, space, hyphen space,
Mhm.
Your department, and then what it is, right? And
Yeah.
so there's a rules. There's like
So,
rules
like in my
behind
world, I have a taxonomy for jobs that can be in IT. You can be a systems analyst.
That's
At
right.
these levels, you can
Precise.
be, so in wellness, they have wellness 1, wellness 2, wellness 3, senior.
That's
their
taxonomy.
taxonomy.
Now
right?
look, ontology is who reports to who. This is called parent-child relationships.
all right.
So wellness 1 reports to, or is hierarchical, like below who.
So it's your org chart.
It's
Okay.
like organization.
Yep,
And
yep.
all data, if you are a good data officer with half a brain, you need to design a hierarchical structure.
Your taxonomy and your ontology for that area.
That's right.
Yep.
Because guess what? You need to have insights on the data. So say we go, well, how many orders of terzepatide have we have? If we have 13 different spellings of terzepatide, we're going to have a problem.
Which we do right now, or they have additional data in there. Yeah.
Yes. So
yeah.
if someone's typing in customer name or order type or whatever that's misspelled or has a space or a period in it, it screws up all the data.
Yeah.
Because if you're not super clever, you could just go run a report on the word terzepatide, and you get like, seems kind of low. And what's interesting is our human brains are really smart, man. I mean, like, we do cause, effect, and trend analysis, like, super well. And so people are smart enough to go, you know what, I think it's more than that. Even though they're not consciously tracking it, they're unconsciously tracking it. We're really good at unconsciously and subconsciously tracking stuff. So it's like, that's not right. Well, your taxonomy and your ontology is all screwed up. So my job is to make sure that the data is what's called smoothed and standardized.
How does data harmonization fit into this?
Harmonization as far as like between different systems. Yeah. So
Because we have this problem all the time, right?
critical, dude.
Yeah.
It's critical.
This is Ernie's one source of truth, right?
Yeah, and honestly, it's integrity, right? And so, like, we have multiple systems that track the same stuff. Customer name is in everything. Well, I've noticed, I don't know, several thousand instances of customer names have like different spellings, and like there's a period here, and maybe the last name's first and the first name's last, and there's the middle initial but not a middle initial. And so if we want to know how many clients do we have.
It's not an easy answer, right? Or you get a different answer in each system because they might be recognized differently.
Yes, and then so if I take one system, I bring them together in one spreadsheet, I might have 6 different Brian Glass, Brian Grass.
Yes. Brian M. Glass, yeah,
Yeah.
Glass Brian, you've got
Sass.
And are they all the same person or not? Actually, you probably have Brain Glass because usually
brain,
they spell brain. Brian is brain. So
Okay.
we're both using big words, right? So that's what IT people do is we use big words
Yeah.
and then
Well,
we take them apart.
I'm trying to, I'm not comparing against you, but I'm trying to use the big word and then define it so other people will expand their vocabulary.
Yeah. See, I like to take the big words and make them simple, and then
that's good.
So I don't know. Let
me know when you want to do that, and then we'll go ahead.
you have different big words than me. So when you say you're defining your ontological taxonomy, I just go lay down. I'm like, I don't know what that sounds.
Well, look, this is helpful for people when they're putting their socks away, and they're like, you know what? I don't have an ontological structure for these socks.
That's exactly what I say in the
all
morning.
over
I go, but you know what can I do? Actually, my shirts in my dresser drawer are organized by color, so I have an ontology and a taxonomy for my shirts.
You know what the ontology that frustrates me the most is when people have their shirts over here, their pants over there, and they're organized by color. It's like, no, you put them together in outfits.
This is the
Makes no
difference.
sense.
This is why data is tough, right?
Yes.
Because everybody has a different way of thinking through these things. So
Well, organized is not intuitive.
Okay.
Right? You can be organized. You can organize the hell out of everything, but it won't be efficient and effective. Well, okay. So there's a difference between efficiency and effectiveness. And there's a quote that says, we're so efficient, we're no longer effective.
you see this in IT too. People will get so locked into a delivery model and organizing things, they're not actually delivering anything.
Yeah.
Right?
I know somebody just moves things around.
Yeah, they're just wasting time. Yeah.
The cup is there, and now it's over there, and
Yep,
we're
yep.
just busy.
Yep.
Okay, so that's not what we're not doing.
Okay. That's
Right?
what you're trying to not do, right? Is
Yeah.
organize for the purpose of simplification, not for complexity, right?
Well, yes. Well, for like end result. So if I'm going, hey, do your Word documents like bloop, 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 bloop. It's
Yeah.
because people put folders with the year on them.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Why do you do that? Put it in the file name, put it all in one folder.
Mhm.
Or like you have a date modified
Mhm.
field
Mhm.
on your Windows Explorer. It was there since 1986. Like
Yeah.
it's hit the button.
So you are triggered by organizational efficiency.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very triggering. You just triggered me.
I know. All right.
So I need to take a breath. Now let's talk about like people are like AI, data,
Okay.
AI.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
everyone's. I got everyone's attention.
Yeah.
So
But we both do things with AI, because there's the machine learning models and GPT and everything else that we're facilitating, and then there is literally every tool that we use is trying to sell us AI powered functionality in it.
Oh yeah.
So how do we draw the line?
So also, like, I just want to say, my colleagues will like think I'm ridiculous and not legit unless I say there's a big difference between it's math and it's AI,
Mm-hmm.
because mathematical models got the damn spaceship on the moon.
Yeah, there's no AI with
60
it.
years ago, there's
Yeah.
no AI, no
Yeah,
AI.
yeah. Do you differentiate between, like, so everybody says AI, and to me they mean GPT, they mean large language models. Like,
Yeah, nowadays.
give people like when you say AI, they make that sound now too. I think. Like, what does it mean to somebody that has been doing this for decades?
I was on the council that defined artificial intelligence for the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little more tough. It was tough because we had people in there who didn't know, basic things, and then we had data scientists with 40 years, and they were,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, no, it's not going to make sense to normal humans. We got to make this make sense to normal humans.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we sort of like landed on this thought of like non-human classifications.
Okay.
Right? Like if a thing can classify a thing, right, then that is the basis of artificial intelligence. Like if it can make a determination on its own
Mm-hmm.
that a thing is part of this category of stuff, like that's a banana,
Okay.
right? Or that's value,
Mm-hmm.
or that means, or that's a tone or a sentiment.
Yeah.
We kind of like got into that area, and then we like bridged out.
So classification is the basis for intelligence.
Yeah, because if you think of like I learned a lot about human intelligence, especially the same time I was going through this was when we had my first boy,
Mm-hmm.
first kiddo, and I
Mhm.
got to watch the unbelievable astronomical growth of intelligence on a
Mhm.
human
Mhm.
while we're defining AI, and I was like, oh my God, like his ability, like parents like they go, oh my God, my kid, when the kid is like, hungry.
Yeah.
Well, they just made a classification.
Mhm.
This pain in my stomach equals I need food, which means I'm hungry, the word hungry,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm going to my parent. They're classified as a caregiver,
Mhm.
right? And that food, not the wall.
Will-
Right?
will
Some kids
feed you.
eat toys.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're-
So
it's
they
not
figure it
good
out.
AI.
Some adults too.
That's
Don't come in at one. If it's a rough day, we might be chewing on pens and pencils. You never know. So
yeah. So yeah, right there, where it's just like, okay, you know what? Like, a human becomes human when it's able to interpret its
okay.
environment.
So you are
You know?
making ontologies, and
Mhm.
so the AI can make classifications and hierarchies.
Yeah, because like, hey, I go off in tangents. Okay, so
It's okay,
You
keep
may
going.
I saw that you just did that.
I tried.
You kind of
I
like
tied
tens
you down.
over here.
I tied you down, man.
So yeah, so there's a famous experiment where like someone put a banana on a stop sign, or no, we put like a banana on a battleship or whatever. I don't know. I don't remember.
You put a
But
banana somewhere.
put-
Appropriate. Work
yeah,
appropriate place. Yeah.
A stop sign was classified as a banana
Okay,
because
yeah.
a couple of the pixels were moved around.
Because it saw a banana and it didn't see it, so it said it's a banana and it's not a stop sign.
Which is absurd because no kid is going to be like, it's a banana.
Yeah.
It's never going to
They
do
will
that.
say it's a banana on a stop sign.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so, like, it was just totally fooled.
Mm-hmm.
And so that goes into the data coming in, the data going in.
Mhm.
So if I have brain, grass.
Yes. My alternate. That's my superhero name. Just
I
so you
think
know.
there's brain grass being
Yeah.
sold.
That's right.
in
That's what
Detroit.
That's what they call me on the street, Ken.
So yeah, if you have all that crap going in,
Yeah.
and you're trying to have AI make sense, I mean, can
Yeah.
you imagine like telling your kid that's a banana a couple times,
Mhm.
and like they're gonna think it's a banana, not a stop sign. They'll believe whatever you
But
tell them.
that's like I look at what we're doing now with things like ChatGPT. I mean, back in the 90s, early 2000s, it was Google, right? And your skill as a technologist was how efficiently you can search Google and separate sense from nonsense, which is bananas instead of stop signs, right? And you would go on, and now
And that was math. That
yeah,
was
Google's math.
That
yeah,
was probability statistics.
Yes.
That was like you search for banana, and it goes, okay, what websites have the word banana in it?
Mm-hmm.
How many people have visited that website? Highest probability of interest is this website.
Right. But
Math.
it's also manipulatable
Because they put weights and stuff.
with newer tools. It's different now, or maybe a lot of that's done. It's a lot harder to fool. I mean, obviously there's hallucinations, but those are getting that sort of like slop in the system is getting a lot better over time, right?
Yeah, and like going back to your question on like we're being bombarded with AI
Mhm.
and math, charading as AI,
Mhm.
which is a lot. But yeah, so like everything, and like who has an Amazon Alexa still? I feel bad for these people.
I
They're
do.
terrible.
Yeah, they're terrible. Yeah.
Absolutely terrible.
I have one in every room, and I never talk to it. Are you polite to your AI assistants or not?
Absolutely.
Do you say thank you?
Unless they misbehave.
Okay.
Well, they were misbehaving today, and and Paul was like, "Ken, do you know the research on like being mean to AI?" I said, "Of course I do.
Yeah.
This deserves to be reprimanded."
Really? Did it
Yeah.
apologize?
No, it
No?
doesn't. Well, maybe it did. I didn't pay attention.
I always say thank you to the phone and to Alexas, yes, and I say please.
Alexa's not gonna matter because it's not AI.
Will be soon. They're supposed to release.
Yeah.
They're supposed to release it.
Yeah.
Who knows, right? It's
Who
going to
knows?
charge extra money. So
Yeah, it's gonna be an extra $9.99
Mhm.
for what you get for free. I don't know, but yes, there's tons of AI going out. DIL.
Everybody says ChatGPT, right? Explain what that is versus other things that you
Okay.
would call AI.
So when ChatGPT came on, and remember, like I was part of the council defined.
Yeah.
We did not think about large language models.
Okay.
We just really didn't. So GPT is what's called a large language model,
Mhm.
which has taken in billions of sentences and conversations and books and everything,
Mhm.
and it was trained to make sense of words and what they mean, but most importantly, what was going to come next.
Mhm.
And so your whole life is being siphoned into profits. But so as you're typing into Facebook was one of the first people, I think they were the first ones that did this, where even your keystrokes are going into their AI models. You can press delete and they already have a
Yeah.
copy of it.
Okay.
And so Google was doing the same thing. Apple was doing it with your text messages.
Mhm.
And so what it was doing was taking your natural language and training the AI models. And basically it's just over millions of instances of the word I love, right? 980,000 of the next instances of the word was you,
Mhm.
right? And so like it learned that likely I love you, and then
Yeah.
and then so it was able to learn human speech
Mhm.
that way.
Mhm.
And there's millions and millions of these deep neural networks, and so they're different than machine learning.
Okay. Is it still math when you're doing neural networks, or is it something different?
There is a lot of math, yes, because you have to tell it like 900. So think of this, right? I love you,
Mhm.
and then
Thank
that's
you.
900. It's true. I thought it was time to say.
That's
it,
right.
so.
Good. Yes.
998,000 of million is you. That's you can say, okay, weigh it like that.
Yeah.
Where it's 99.8%
Yeah. Mhm.
put you, right? Now, say you don't care about that. Say you like, I hate whatever,
Mhm.
and it's Brian.
Mhm.
Comes up a bunch in my
Yes,
conversations because of the data that I'm
Yes.
sampling.
What you're generating. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I don't want to weigh that. I want to
Right.
weigh that, even though the instances are a lot. I want to say, this is probably not.
Mhm.
And this is what's been in the news is when you go on and it's been in the news of like, oh my God, I can't believe this thing made an image of whatever, right? It's because they were weighing it with math. They were
So
like,
I use an AI journaling app, right? Because I'm trying to sell you on an AI journaling app, and I'm trying to get us to use an AI.
already done.
Yeah.
It's great.
So,
Yes.
how does that come up with uniqueness and insights that a human doesn't? Like, I get okay. I'm looking at the input set and trying to predict what comes next, but this is now transitioned from
Reasoning.
into actual reasoning.
That's right.
Yeah. So how did
Yeah.
what took it to that step?
Yeah, so once they got all those like billions of like what's called parameters,
Mhm.
okay, then they started going, okay, now let's train it to have a certain personality, okay? And I learned a little bit of like, if you're like, I love eating rocks.
Mhm.
That doesn't happen a lot. So it's going to go, why? This is probably not safe. And there's probably some articles that were in there of like, eating rocks is probably not safe, right?
Mhm.
And so it's just kind of regurgitating
Yeah.
a lot of other knowledge that's in its
Synthesizing all the billions of opinions
That's
it has
it.
us from others.
Yeah,
So-
it's just going, the likely response to this in my billions of parameters was this, right? And then the math comes in of where like the programmers behind the scenes can go, hey, look, be more kind, or like be more brash like Grok, right? Or be more politically correct in these topic areas.
But this is why it works so good for coding and engineering, right? Because these are fixed,
They're fixed
constrained sort of situations
That's right.
where creativity is very it's pigeonholed.
But the problem, Brian, is you had a human telling the GPT what it wants. So you basically have a square peg in a round hole, and the human's going, I want this code to make me a
yeah.
thing. And it's going,
So
"All right,
it'll
let me
try
just-
to do it.
Let me just make a thing.
It'll try to do it.
See what happens.
I did this for you because you said I have to have this data into my Elasticsearch index, right? And I said, okay. I don't even have a peg. I've got like a freaking jellyfish that I'm trying to stuff into this round hole, right? And I've got to try to find. So ChatGPT helped me write the Python script that I needed to move all that work.
Because you're a tech dork. So you're able to go in there and go, generate Python script
Yes,
with
yes.
Panda package that does the
Yes.
thing. Where I'm like, hey, you know what? I would, can you like just tell me what this spreadsheet says? It says words.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't say anything because it
It's-
doesn't speak. It's a spreadsheet, stupid.
Yeah.
But it's told to be nice, and so
But it's getting better. I sat there this morning, and I needed to come up with how we're going to pay partners for products that we sell on our e-commerce sites, right? Well, I went to it with a problem. No technology. I said, I have this site. I have this problem. What are the solutions? And boom. I mean, like,
Yes.
it's such a I mean, we have developers that are 18 and 19 years old that are operating at, levels of sophistication that are years above their actual age and their experience level because they have tools like this.
Yeah. And what's interesting is I've experienced this a bit where AI is like, man, it's like a wild animal. It's like, what the hell is this like a Wolverine or is this like a donkey? Like what the hell? Because like I tell it to do something and I'm like, that's not what I told you to do.
So
And I told you, like I'm generating AI-based learning curriculum for you all. I hope you appreciate it because it took me like 400 hours to do this. But the thing I learned was I was like, only ask one question at a time. I had it the first statement, and it asked 10 questions in the first interaction. Like, I just told you, but guess what? It did ask one question at a time. It went this question, this question, this question, this question. When I had to redesign it and go, only prompt one question at a time. Because I was using stupid people language. I was using square peg, round hole. What you did was, what your 18, 19-year-olds, they're like kind of matching that, right?
So how do we train people to ask better questions to the AI then? Like what is a decoder ring? Because we've given ChatGPT to almost everybody now. So how do you ask better questions so that it is of more utility to you?
You come to my AI training workshop.
Yeah.
Thank you for plugging that.
You're
by the
welcome.
way.
Yeah, that's totally planned, right?
Yes, yes. What we've discovered is the more vague you are, the better the results because of all the data that's in there. So, like, just generate this thing.
That's why I asked the
Be
question about
vague.
politeness. I was only being halfway silly, because what I read is that when you inject politeness, the AI interprets that as context.
That's right.
And those contextual clues are what help it give you more richness to the response. If you just go, give me this, it goes,
Yes.
it gives you this. If you say, hey, I'm looking for this, could you please find this? And it can infer from those contextual clues a little bit more nuance as to what you're looking
That's
for.
right. Let's seize this point. So I mentioned deep neural networks, right? On large language models. What is interesting about your interaction with the GPT is it creates a neural network, a new neural pathway and a new synapse on your conversation, right? And so, like, it's exactly this. What's kind of boring and kind of exciting is engineers are not really creative. So that's why AI
You
sucks.
follow a recipe.
Yeah, it's just terrible. And so the problem that we got is we got this like engineered piece of software from folks who are not good at interpersonal communication, probably don't go to rave in the parties, and it's very like this, like it's very like and so we have this very rigid AI product that we have right now. But folks like us who have empathy and who are a little bit more like connected to the human interaction, we're modifying these things. And so what we've learned is that I was trying to remember where the heck was I going with that. What was your question?
We were talking about contextual clues, adding richness, context.
Oh, that's right.
Adding richness to the response.
When you're nice, right? That neuron that was in that synapse that was created for that moment is now conditioned with that niceness. And so the entire rest of the conversation has a total coloring of your interactions. And so if you're like, I'm kind of curious on, like, it's going to now associate this conversation with the context of curiosity, and it will therefore be curious.
Are models like this trained to please the requester?
They are told.
Okay.
Yes. Versus trained.
Okay.
And we're probably trained a little bit.
How do you reinforce something like that? Like, because is it based on where the conversation drops off, or like how do they infer if they have pleased the requester?
So how do they determine whether or not?
How does a model determine, yes, I gave somebody a successful answer to this and it was a good answer, and like are there inferences that it picks up from how you respond to it?
So it's looking for sentiment. So it's looking for, oh, this is good. Oh, okay, thanks.
Just like how we look for sentiment, right?
Yep,
I mean, that's one of our applications for this. So
now remember too, what's very interesting, and most people don't know this, but remember, the LLMs, large language models, ChatGPT, etc., Gemini and Claude and Grok, right? They're trained on written words, dude, not how we speak. Most people are typing into GPT and these other models with the spoken word. So I studied ethnolinguistics for quite some time, and it's very interesting on how the human language evolves and how written word, there's a lag between written word and spoken word, like a huge lag. And now that we have permanent memory of digital, like ethnolinguists, we're not really sure like what's going to happen with the human language.
Sure.
Right? Because it's supposed to evolve like
but there's no need to
10
change
years.
now. Yeah, it's almost like it's written
It's locked
in
in.
stone.
It is. It is. And these language models are trained on written text.
So, okay.
Not our words that we speak.
I just read this, that, who was it? Maybe it was Musk or somebody that said we have almost reached a saturation point of knowledge.
We have.
To be able to train that. But
this is a dangerous situation right now.
But is it written knowledge? Because we have not learned or enabled models that can listen and train themselves on.
I love you, man. So this is his plug that I paid him to do this prior to him. You're really draining my bank account.
That's right. I know. Yeah.
My bonus.
I need affiliate funds right now. Yes. So.
Yeah. That's good. So, yes. So, great plugin is if you have not been under a rock, my first implementation here was a system called Ready to capture your conversational intelligence. So I knew that coming in a year ago that,
you were working on Ready before you even set foot in that office.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. So I knew. And even just sitting down and even speaking to my wellness specialist, I was like, this is a lot of important data here. And not just like, let's take it, but let's sort of codify, and that's a very interesting word, but like, so it's, let's take all this data so that, because we forget things. Like you just saw me forget. I did it on purpose. I forgot something 45 seconds ago. So let's put it into a database and let our wellness specialists and everyone at the company be able to interrogate that, or interact with that and go, what did I say to this one client like 3 months ago or whatever, or what has been the most effective rebuttal for, I got to talk to my wife, man. Like, this is a lot. Like, what's the perfect response? Yeah, all that.
And
You're
you should
absolutely
look
right.
at, and you need to look at the tone of that and the sentiment of that, and
That's coming.
where it
Yeah.
occurred in the
Yeah.
conversation, and
Yeah.
and you're getting past the written word into the message that's trying to send. So if you train on the sales books, it's a really
Yeah.
cool moment to be at. Right?
Yes. And what's great is there is written word on the spoken word.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has kind of a leg up, right? It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
dumb. So it knows, like, hey, because I have, I don't know, about 30 really powerful books
That it's trained
powering
on.
the GPTs
Yeah.
that our folks will get access to.
So after ready, what are you most excited about delivering that the company is going to see,
The company,
or our patients?
yeah,
Take your pick.
yeah. So I think like metrics,
Mhm.
and so like as a ex-professional athlete, right?
Mhm.
There's not a day or an hour that went by that I didn't look at some kind of data,
Yeah.
figure out what's going on. My HRV,
Mhm.
like all day long,
Yeah. Yeah. You and me both.
you know,
Right.
recovery time,
Yep.
you know, and so like it dictated my entire life,
Mhm.
right? And so like I think giving people the HRV data on how they're doing
Mhm.
here, not, I mean, I'm just saying HRV, but
Yeah.
like how am I doing in sales?
Mhm.
How's my tone?
Mhm.
Right? And how are my customers responding real
Adherence to
time?
cultural values, right?
Cultural
Yeah.
values.
Yep.
How do I better myself? How do I embody what my client wants, what the company wants, what I want,
Mhm.
what my relationships at home want?
Mhm.
Giving people a little bit better, you know, HRV data on that.
Okay.
The statistics across the board. Like if your sales are slumping or maybe your feedback isn't all that great.
Mhm.
Like there's leading and lagging indicators. And typically your emotional state is a lagging indicator. There's other things that will be more timely. Does that
Okay.
make sense? Leading and lagging.
Yeah,
Let me
it makes
explain
sense.
Yeah.
Things that show you where you're going and things that you experience after
Yes.
you've gotten there, right?
Yeah. You told me too, like your HRV went down and then like the next day you're
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know, and then you infected the whole company. So
Yeah, I know. That was total. Well,
because
it
you
was,
had a lagging
yeah,
indicator.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good time, wasn't it? So you were not too sick from that. All right. So you are a chief in the company, and one of the things that our company leaders have to do is embody a specific cultural value,
Mm-hmm.
right? So your cultural value is
Innovation.
okay. So why don't we end with
Mm-hmm.
your perspective on innovation and tell our passionate listeners, because they're of course listening still and not asleep.
I hope so.
Yeah,
The
I
one
also,
person,
none of our people in here
my
are falling
mom.
asleep.
You're still here, Mom.
Tell them what you think it would take to earn an innovation coin.
Well, first let's talk about what innovation isn't.
Okay.
Innovation isn't doing something that you hadn't done before. That's not innovation. Innovation is doing something that's never been done before.
Okay.
Usually not like here, never been done here before. That's
Mhm.
not innovation.
Okay.
That's adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's evolution.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So innovation is like, how did I just have a novel thought and then figure out how to implement it? And then be bold enough
Mm-hmm.
to go,
To do it.
I want to do it.
It's not just creativity; it's applied creativity.
Engineering and creativity
Mhm.
embody the term
Mhm.
innovation.
So give an example of how because this is an easy topic for people that are in technology, right? It's easy to say, hey, this is an innovative technological solution. Let's break it out for people that aren't in technology. What would be an example of innovation in operations? How would somebody from operations maybe go surprise you with this is something new that's never been done before that adds to the company in a meaningful way? Maybe that's too hard of a question to think off the top of your head, but
Well, that's I'm in the sea,
all right,
so I should be
yeah,
able to
there
do
you go,
this,
right?
So I think identifying a thing that takes time that shouldn't take time,
Mhm.
and it's like, look, we have this thing, we have this process,
Mhm.
right? That hit a tone, right? Like I gotta upload a thing and download a thing
Mhm.
and then send a thing,
Mhm.
right? And I gotta look at it. Can't like my Tesla drives to work for me.
Mhm.
Can't we just put a Tesla on this thing?
Mhm.
and then they go and they Google and they look at, and they're like, look, this thing can do, right? This service can now look at this stuff that we're doing and do it automatically. Can we just figure out a way to figure that out?
Do you think there's an element of self-directedness with innovation too? Like, it's not so much that, yeah, you should tell somebody your idea, but what we like at Transcend is when you do, right? So how much of this is your motivation to actually do the necessary discussions and maybe lay the groundwork so we can actually use it?
Yeah, so there's like a gradient, right? There's like frustration, then there's complaint, right? Which, congratulations, you went from this thing sucks to like, hey, this thing sucks.
Yeah, Joe, this thing is terrible. Why don't you figure out something to fix it?
Can you fix this thing? I'm going home.
Versus, hey, Joe, I came up with this way to fix it, and I tried it, and it works well for me, and I think
like,
that we can use this. Like,
tinkering, right? That's like the next level.
Experimenting and being open to experimenting.
Yeah.
I think that's the cultural value, right? Is we want people to be curious. I mean, you're in healthcare, right? You are dealing with situations that you need to be curious about, right? And so we're saying apply that to all areas of what you do here. You know?
And remember, this is another gradient, right? And so like people don't know how many folks actually tried to create a light bulb. Like there were a lot.
Sure.
There wasn't just one.
Right.
We only know one because it kept going.
Because it was successful. Yeah. For reasons outside of the technological
That's
reasons.
right.
Yeah.
And we know a lot of people who weren't successful, but man, they had grit and they feel like, you know what? It's not possible. But I figured it out that it's not possible this way. And so like, innovation, you gotta, there's grit in there. And just churning and just like grinding away until you have a definitive output of like, this cannot be done. Or this can be done. This is how we do it, but I don't know how to do it. Like I don't know how to get there. Yeah, that's
innovation.
Oh yeah, because you have to progress the human understanding of a thing. Like you have to progress our ability to understand something just a notch. Then you're really innovated.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're just tinkering and
I can't wait to see who the first person is you give out the innovation coin to. I know you have the AI award too, right?
I have multiple awards.
Yeah.
Some will which be not disclosed until it's given out. But yeah, AI award is going to be given out shortly. Already identified the individual who is receiving it, and we're going to do that. Yeah.
Cool. But nobody for the first innovation coin yet.
Nah.
You know, word on the street is we gave out the first integrity coin.
Yes.
So
that was a big deal.
I know. Yeah.
It's not in the news yet. So.
No, not in the news yet. So see, this is how we test to see if people are listening to us or not.
Oh, you will get $150 off.
This is where you put your plug in.
Massage services.
By Ken? I don't know if I'm gonna want. I don't know if I want that.
Wait, well, what's the IV place?
The IV place.
Yeah. Okay. So if you've listened so far, text message me the word banana in Slack. You will receive a discount off of the IV therapy.
Okay.
How about that?
All right.
Sound good, right?
Hey, that was good. That was a good way.
Yeah.
So yes, I know. Right.
Doesn't include the folks who are filming us though.
No, they know. They're still going to do it anyways, but you know, it's all good. So you know, Ken, we're going to have to send out a survey after the end of this, right? Because we need to make sure that we were impactful and meaningful and everything.
Emoji.
Else. Yes, up or down. Yes, yeah. So somebody throwing up, right? That emoji, right? We know one of those things. So
Mr. Hanky.
No, thank you. So I think that's on my whiteboard right now. So
well, thank you for listening. Thank you for participating, and we look forward to hearing your feedback and additional topics that we can discuss, and hopefully you enjoyed yourselves. Thank you so much.